Today on Locked On Red Wings, Scotty and I are going to give you our favorite moments from the 2022 Detroit Red Wings season.
You're Locked On Red Wings, your daily podcast on the Detroit Red Wings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Red Wings podcast. We are your hosts, Brian Fisher and Scotty Bentley. Scotty also hosts over at Locked On Tigers. And I'm not even gonna. I was gonna make a joke. I'm gonna.
No,
walk
we're
right
good,
past
man.
it.
I'm good on that.
Rest in peace. We're gonna have good high energy here as we record at almost 1 o'clock in the morning because somebody had to work till midnight at the radio station on a Sunday. I don't know why Scotty would do that, but here we are.
I'm a writer, man. I ain't a producer.
Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. Scotty, you and I are going to give the people what they've been asking for. I don't know if anyone's been asking for it, but we're going to give it to them anyways. Our favorite moments from this last season, the 2021-22 season, and strictly speaking to on-ice stuff, not necessarily off-ice, interviews or anything we had, but things that happened for the Red Wings on the ice during the games. And I don't know if you want to lead off or if I should. But I mean,
doesn't matter. I think
list.
it's just fun to have a conversation, just like talking about like coolest moments. Cause we've talked so much about, I mean, even since the season's ended, we've talked so much about how like the end of the season was so like heavy and just like exhausting because of how bad the team was. And during the season, like the second half for recording shows, it's like
it's hard.
It's more fun to talk about a winning team. Like it is. I'm sure it's more fun to listen to people talk about a winning team. Like it's more fun. So I think it's just cool to, as the season is officially like completely wrapped up, to just go through and just talk about like some of the highlights. I mean, for me, the first one that came to my mind, the first one that came to my mind is one I'll talk about later. But the one of the first ones to come to my mind was the Raymond Hat Trick. I think that is one of the to kick off the season that way, like for him to, it was kind of a question mark whether he was going to make the team. And then he had such a good preseason and such a good camp. And Verana was, obviously hurt. And they were like, okay, well, Raymond's going to get a shot. And for him to like just so early on, just like rip a hattie. And it was our first show together, like all of it for on and off ice reasons. It really was, in my eyes, that is right up there with some of the best moments and coolest moments of the season.
No, absolutely. That was, I think, not October 29th. It was mid to late October against the Chicago Blackhawks. It was really early in the season. And like you said, I think a lot of the reason, I think every Red Wings fan will admit that that's one of their favorite moments from the NHL or the Red Wings season this year. But for us, ourselves, as just two of us, it held a little bit extra weight just because of the fact that, like you said, that was our first ever show together. And it was a banger. It did great numbers. I wonder why, right? I mean, you only had your rookie come in and score a hat trick, and it was just a fantastic episode. Great way to get us off on the right foot. And then, of course, like it led to what ended up being quite a tear by the Red Wings. And I mean, by their own standards of playing 500 hockey, it's quite a tear, but they played really well.
For real, I mean, it was certainly 500 hockey, blew the expectations out of the water.
Especially in this division.
Right. Like that, the fact that we hung around that 500 mark for as long as we did in this division, and given what everybody's expectations were going into the year, will forever be wildly impressive. And that's why, as we said last week, that's why I think most of us consider it a successful season.
Yeah, and I think
that Raymond moment was just awesome.
Yeah, I think another moment too that first came to my head when thinking about the best moments from this season wasn't even a goal scoring. It was actually a defensive feat by like the team as a whole, and it's what people are dubbing the shift. And it was October 29th against Florida, where Fabry, DeKaiser, and it's escaping me, but one other player combined for like 5 or 6 blocked shots in a 40-second span against the Florida Panthers. And it was just an insane feat of just determination and willpower to block all those shots. And Fabry especially took 2 really hard shots that he had to block. And that by far was like probably the most cohesive defensive play and just like sheer, like no fear, put your body on the line and protect this team. Like when you think about plays that this team made to keep pucks out of the net, which didn't happen a lot this season,
No, it did
that
not.
is first and foremost what came to mind. You remember hearing it was the national broadcast or it was Florida Panthers broadcast literally go, what is happening in that 40-second
I think
span?
we
Because it was so
only
lit.
played Florida on national
Oh,
TV,
you're right.
didn't
Yep, it
we?
was an
So I
ESPN
think it would have
Plus.
been an ESPN, yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah, no, that was I remember Twitter's reaction to that moment, to that shift was like the big thing I remember from that night. I just remember like Red Wings Twitter's reaction to it was awesome. And everybody was like, what the hell is going on? And kind of in that same vein, the like one of the cooler moments was Bertuzzi getting saves that we pulled the goalie and he just stood in net
Oh,
and just like was
yeah.
kind of on his head for a little bit, right?
And
Like
they
that
still
was
ended up scoring in the end, but it
right,
was
yeah, like we didn't win, but like it was, cool moment. He blocked like 3 consecutive shots or something and like was on his back doing like the leg roll over at one point, like crazy. So yeah, anytime for a team that was struggled so much defensively and allowed so many goals, anytime that you get plays from individual players or shifts that result in really good defense, you're gonna be one of the highlights of the season, I think.
yeah, absolutely. What's your next one? What was another one that stood out to you?
Well, I mean, in the same conversation as the Raymond hat trick, I mean, the Larkin hat trick is also very much
Good
up
one.
there. The fact that was his first, yeah,
Yeah, which is
which is
crazy.
insane to think about. But like, yeah, like that, the fact that Dylan Larkin's first career hat trick happened this year is wild. So yeah, that was a really cool, really cool moment, and the celebration, I think, like it's just it was a little bit different, the fact that it was Larkin than like anybody else. I don't know.
Well, that was a crazy game too because it happened. There was the last game. It was the first doubleheader ever at Little Caesars Arena. And it was like late December, and it was right before the whole NHL got shut down because of COVID. So the Red Wings actually had a bunch of players enter COVID protocol that day. And I was really wondering if that game would even get played. It does. Larkin goes out, scores a hat trick. I think Bertuzzi had a goal, and Kyle Crisculo got his first NHL career point in that game as well, as they just beat up on the Devils 5-2. That was just an absolute like rocker of a game. The Red again, it just goes back to like that first. Again, beating up on the Devils, not a whole big feat, but that first half of the season before the All-Star break, there were some really good moments in that. I mean, I didn't even
There
include in
was.
my list all the I wanted to, but I didn't include in my list like beating the Vegas Golden Knights, the OT winner that Larkin had against the Washington Capitals early in the season. Beating the Blues, beating the Bruins. Like there were a lot of good wins against really good teams that showed you a little bit of like hope that this team was on the right track when you're beating those kind of good teams. Of course, again, prior All-Star break, but we genuinely felt and believed like this team is. I mean, I still do, but maybe a little more grounded now. But this team was in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Also, I want to say, though, before I head into my first ad read here, that I do want to get all your guys' opinions on what your favorite moments from the Red Wings season was. You can add us on Twitter. You can reply to our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram posts that we make for each individual episode. Or, of course, our YouTube comments are always probably the best place to go because it's always easiest for me to access your comments and even reply just on the YouTube Studio app. So if you guys are watching us on YouTube, it's easiest just to go to our YouTube page and reply in the comments in that episode. Just let us know, and we'll be more than happy to read those off on a later date, what your guys' favorite moments from the Red Wings season was. In the meantime, though, we've got to talk to you guys today about BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting stats, sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's basketball playoffs, Major League Baseball, and NHL playoffs, and this weekend's run to the Roses at the Kentucky Derby. BetOnline is your continued source for all the sport wagering information from live betting, playoffs, esports, and more. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, Scotty. Segment 2, Locked On Red Wings podcast. We're breaking down our top moments from the Red Wings season this year. We had already listed a few good ones in the first segment, but there are still a lot of really good ones to go. And we're saving our best for last. We're saving our best, most favorite moment from the year until segment 3. So if you want to know what we think is the best, you got to stick around, guys. But Scotty, to continue on our conversation, another great moment I felt was Moritz Seider's first career goal as an OT winner against the Buffalo Sabres, and that was on November 6th.
Yeah.
He breaking down the wing like that. I mean, he had good possession that entire sequence, breaking down the wing, cutting to the middle, and then beating glove side, far side, top shelf from inside the slot. Like, that was a goal scorer's goal being scored by your rookie defenseman for his first career goal to win the game. It was an absolute treat to watch.
Yeah, no, that is definitely one of the best moments of the season and will forever be in career highlight tapes of Seider. You know, YouTube compilations.
That's where it'll
of
start.
Seider
right?
career highlights will always have that goal in it. Certainly one of the better and coolest moments of the year. Unreal. Also, I mean, speaking of him, I think maybe to a lesser extent, but the one shift he had, it was a penalty kill, and he had possession for like 90 seconds or something of
against
2
the
minutes.
Flyers, I think.
Yeah. That moment that will always stand out to me because that clip of just his entire shift just went crazy viral, and everyone is like, "Look at this dude! He's like single-handedly killed an entire penalty by himself almost."
We could do an entire show on Moritz Seider moments from this season because you know what's funny is on my list, I didn't necessarily list a specific moment for Seider besides his first overtime goal. What I had written down was Seider domination, January 28th at Pittsburgh, and then Seider domination just against Philadelphia. Because Seider, for some reason, against the state of Pennsylvania, is amazing. He, in that game against Pittsburgh, the one that they won in Pittsburgh, he blew through, was it Rust, to get to Sidney Crosby. Like, the balls on this man as a rookie.
Yeah,
to want to get to Crosby. And he was like that. He was a pest to Crosby all game long. And then next weekend, I think we had a home and home against the Philadelphia Flyers, and he absolutely dominated the Philadelphia Flyers, which I think is where that penalty kill shift that you're talking about came in. And then don't forget when they played the Edmonton Oilers, McDavid's coming down one-on-one, and Seider just reaches around and pokes the puck off a stick. Like, domination from Seider is something that we got so used to that we just came to expect it by the end of the season. Like, we expected no one else besides Seider to go out there and perform well. And I think that's maybe a good opportunity to like take a step back and just like, not that we weren't appreciating him, but just to realize how insane it is that this kid came in at 20 years old. Because that's what he is. He's a kid at 20 years old, not even legally allowed to drink in America yet. In Germany, different story where he's from. Right. But in America, not even legally allowed to drink when he started the season. And immediately, and I've said it before, a top 20 defenseman in the league and the best rookie to make his debut this season, and by a landslide. He's like, it's not even if he's going to win the Calder. It's just like waiting for the announcement to come.
Correct. Yeah. And it's really the only debate is if he's going to win it unanimously or not. That's really all it is.
That NHL.com poll showed that there was only, he didn't get just 2 votes of the top first place votes in that last NHL poll. So,
yes.
One with the Zegers.
We talked. It was 2 or 3. Yeah, it was a very minuscule amount. Doesn't really matter.
So even if he doesn't get it unanimously, it'll be pretty close to unanimous.
Yeah. I think it, might be biased. I think it should be unanimous.
I mean, even if it is biased, it's still true.
How about I totally forgot that when they first bestowed captain on Larkin, it was the COVID year. So how about kicking off this season with like the ceremony and like the fans, bringing all the old captains back and like doing doing everything in front of the fans this time instead of just like playing the video, in front of an empty arena, like, oh, hey, he's captain, like doing that in front of like the fans and everything. I thought that was, it seems like it wasn't part of this season, but it was.
Yeah, it seems like it was both just yesterday and at the same time like a million years ago.
Yeah.
Because I actually
Was that opening
obviously
night? I
it
feel like
was
that was
open.
opening night they did that.
That was against the Tampa Bay Lightning, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he
Yeah.
really got suspended that same game because
Right. Yes.
is that one of our moments too? I mean, him getting hit in the neck
Sure.
and then
Yeah.
immediately
Throwing the
turning around and
gloves off.
punching
That
the
was
guy.
sick. The edit,
Yeah.
I wish I could give credit. I don't know who made it. Somebody on Wings Twitter made the edit. Though, welcome to Detroit. like, you hear Eminem. Yeah, Trick. Hey, he just throwing hands, like so funny.
Oh, that ceremony was so good though because you had Lidstrom, Zetterberg, obviously Iserman, but you also
Oh, I
had
mean Mickey, like
you had
it was,
Mickey
yeah,
Redmond
it was
and
awesome.
Nick Libet was down there as well because
Mhm.
Libet, unfortunately, he was the captain during the Dead Wings, but he was a captain all the same
Yep.
during a time. So like it was a great little ceremony, and then
I
he
think they had
immediately went
every
out.
living captain. I
Every
think.
living captain, I'm pretty sure, yeah,
Yeah, I think they had every living captain.
which is really cool to see.
Very.
Um, how about sticking to that very same game? Bertuzzi with 4 goals in that Tampa
Oh yeah.
Bay. Unfortunately, ended up being a loss because the Red Wings couldn't hold on to the lead. But four
And to
goals from
like
Tyler Bertuzzi.
sandwich the season, like Bert ending the year on 30 was a cool moment. I think it's a lot easier to find like cool moments within, fan excitement and team success. So like it could have been a lot cooler, but I do think that him hitting 30 and seeing his teammates' reaction and everything was a super cool thing as well.
Yeah, and in the same vein, Larkin hit 30 as well again
Mhm.
after a down year last year. So that's more of a bigger scope thing rather than just like a cool moment. I mean, it's cool
Yeah.
that he hit 30 again, but I mean, if it were not for that injury, he would have had a career year in every statistical category for himself. He was just fantastic all year long. So I guess if you're looking at a bigger scope, it's great to see Larkin have such a great bounce back and kind of become what we always thought he could be this season prior to the core surgery. So that was not necessarily a great moment, but just great to see.
Yeah. No, I mean honestly, like Larkin's season is a great moment.
Oh yeah,
Like I know that sounds like whatever, but it's his entire season was a really big step forward for him, and with the captaincy and everything, just really awesome all around. Also, you could point to like any Vladislav Nemestikov moment
oh
and like
man,
goal, and like any goal he scored where he's tugging the jersey after, that's one of the best
it was
moments of the
hype,
year.
absolutely hype. Also, cannot forget too. You got to make sure you throw that in there. So obviously, we talked about Raymond's hat trick, but Raymond's first career goal against Columbus on October 19th.
Mhm.
It was like less than a week into the season. It might have been the third game of the year. Like I was lucky enough that and maybe this is a little bit biased for me. Maybe it's not like everyone's top whatever of the season because there were a lot of good moments in this year. But like I was just about to go on my break at Little Caesars Arena, had my super slice in hand, my Little Caesars Arena super slice, I was like, you know what? I'm going to walk down the tunnel here through this portal and just see what's going on. I walk down, and just as I walk down, you see Larkin and Raymond break into the zone, and this is coming at me. That's the direction. I'm on the side that they score on. Raymond break down the wing, shoot, score. I just happened to walk in the moment Raymond scores his first career goal. And I think for a lot of people that will be in the top 10, but more so, especially for me,
Absolutely.
like just being lucky enough to time my break right to walk in and see that was such a cool moment. Like it's like I haven't had chills at a live hockey game like that. Oh, man, how long has it been since I got chills like that at a Red Wings game? It's got to be since the playoff years. It's got to be.
Probably. No,
It
I mean
just
that is definitely gonna be in just about everybody's top 10, I would think.
Do you have any other ones before we get to our final segment where we reveal our number one moments?
I mean, I'm sure there's a few more, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure there's a couple of more, but I think we can transition into our favorite ones.
just like I'm about to do my favorite read, Built.com. Summer is coming,
Nice.
and with summer, you're going to need some food on the go. Built Bars are the perfect snack to take with you on family vacations. Throw them in your bags and your kids' backpacks. Make sure that everyone has a bar so you are fueled for your summer adventures. The best part about Built Bars, they are healthy and delicious. No more sacrificing delicious food for health. With Built Bar, you can have both, and it's easy. All you have to do is go to Built.com and order now. Have you tried the Built Bar Puffs yet? We are going crazy for the Puffs. They come in so many flavors like banana cream pie and even churro. Who doesn't want a protein bar that tastes like a churro? And they're only 140 calories. Sign me up. If that's not enough flavor for you, then you might want to try the Mixed Box. The Mixed Box comes with 12 flavors of Built Bars and Puffs. Go to Built.com to get all your favorites: banana cream pie, raspberry, double chocolate, and so many more. They're all delicious, and new flavors are coming out all the time. Check them out at Built.com. Go to Built.com, use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. Segment 3, Locked On Red Wings podcast. Scotty, it's time for us to reveal our favorite moments from the Red Wings season. But I actually have one more I want to squeeze in before I reveal.
Yeah, we got plenty of time.
Nedeljkovic's 47 save game against Boston. In a game, I think he did still give up 3 goals, but he faced like over 50 shots.
Yes.
So he made 47 saves against Boston last month of the season.
Us predicting his 46 save shutout.
So that 47 save was definitely my number one. Did you want to go first, or should I on my number one?
I also really quickly.
Yeah. Go ahead, squeeze in the one in there.
Thomas Greiss in Madison Square Garden. That game, one of my favorite games of the season.
Yes,
genuinely
absolutely.
one of my just from like an entertainment standpoint as a Red Wings fan. The Thomas Greiss Madison Square Garden game was one of the most fun games to watch of the entire season. Phenomenal.
I 100% agree. You know what? That's a good call because I did not even have that one listed. It was not in my mindset. I think my mindset is so genuinely focused on like the young guys on this team that I don't even think about like the Thomas Greisses, your Sam Gagne's, your Mark Stahl.
We didn't have a Gagne game this year, man.
We didn't. We really didn't.
Sad.
Maybe next year. We haven't mentioned at all Jacob Vrana. I mean, there's not really.
Oh, I mean, his first scoring in his first game back. I know we got blown out of the water, but like him scoring in his first game back from a specific moment was very cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like Jacob Vrana, I feel like this season, and this is not Jacob Vrana slander, so don't take that this way in any way, shape, or form. Not you, Scotty, but the people listening. He didn't really have like that moment, like that amazing moment, that clutch goal that really stood out to me as like is one of the best moments.
Because the team was in the water by the time he got back.
He was just consistently good in the 19 or 20 some games he did play at the end of the year.
It's just unfortunate timing that he came back when the team had pretty much already thrown in the towel on the season.
Yeah, so just because he's not on this list doesn't mean I don't appreciate what he did. He just didn't have that one moment that really stood out. Like you said, Scotty, he scored in his first game back, but the Wings lost 9-2 in that one. Right. So it's hard to like be like, that was a great moment when you get blown out of the water.
Correct. Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
My favorite moment, and you already spoiled it. Kind of my own fault. I kind of set it up, though. His 46-game shutout, Nedeljkovic's 46-game shutout against the Carolina Hurricanes in Carolina. And the fact that you predicted it the night before or the day of when it actually had released. That is by far and away the best moment from this season.
Yeah, that's I was in my Oracle bag with that one.
Oh, the Oracle moments. We missed those. That was a great little Oracle moment you forgot to call out. You forgot to shout it out. But the fact, too, is that night when we were recording and somebody asked us on Twitter mid-recording, I go, did we call this? And like you pull it up and you're like, oh, yeah, here it is. We were listening. And you're like, 46-piece shutty for Nedeljkovic was just crazy. So like not only are we on the back of an amazing performance from a goaltender who made 46 saves in a shutout, we also, well, at least you also, predicted that he would do so.
Yeah, no, that was definitely a fun moment. That was a fun victory lap to take for sure. Mine, is very on brand. When we finally got the Smith brothers both playing in a game.
Oh my God, yes, that was great for the 3 games Jamel played with the.
And finally, we
Red Wings.
finally got one where Giovanni was in the lineup too. And yeah, that is had them sharing a line is comfortably like my favorite moment of the season. Like that's the dog. Like I love Giovanni. I love that man. So like that whole moment was in a as all these moments in a season that by the end of it was a really exhausting second half and a really did not live up to expectations second half. That was one moment that I was so that game was so fun.
Well,
Just
they were
so
like
unbelievably
they were
fun.
like blue balling you for weeks there.
Yeah, because they kept doing G Smith and then G Smith and then G Smith. And we're like, which one and why won't you play both of them? And then they finally did.
They must have known that Jamel was like out the door. Like they knew they were going to waive him again because somebody was getting healthy and then he was going to get.
Yeah.
There probably was a little bit of an
last
agreement
very
between.
much longer after that game. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I feel like there's a little bit of an agreement with Tampa. Like, hey, we're going to snag this player from you that's on waivers, but we're going to put him back on waivers for you to grab as soon as our guys get healthy. And they're like, well, before they go, we got to let the players play together. And they did. And it was just really
miraculous.
It was fun
absolutely
to see.
beautiful. That is probably my favorite moment of the season. Maybe not best, maybe not like, most like emotional or whatever. But like purely my favorite, I think that's probably my favorite moment of the year.
I'm trying to think if there's any other that stand out in my head as something that I've missed from this season. That was great. Didn't
there was a couple of
Grace had a shutty in Calgary, didn't he?
Yeah, and he did. And
no, it was in Vancouver, and then Calgary beat us. I think
Calgary did beat us.
Yeah, so it was Vancouver that I think Grace had the shutout. I think maybe it was in Nedeljkovic. See, this is why I do research before the show because now I'm just going off the cuff, guys.
Well, and like when we're talking about other like Seider by himself has a couple, like any reverse hit.
Oh God, yes, the reverse hits are so awesome.
Like was a really cool moment. Yeah, like for me personally, like a lot of Giovanni Smith fights always were fun moments for me personally.
Oh yeah, Nedeljkovic had a 43 save shutout against the Vancouver Canucks, in which Q Suter had the lone goal assisted by Vlad Nemesnikov.
Honestly, this sounds kind of weird, but like the one game, was it against Toronto? The crazy game?
Oh, the 10-7 loss.
Yeah, that was Toronto, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that was
I'm not saying best, but like as far as like
entertainment value,
games that stand out looking back on the season, that one is very high up because that was like, especially after the Raymond goal. I think we were within one.
Both teams changed their goalies twice in that game. Like, when does that happen?
That was pure insanity. And as far as, like I said, as far as like games that you definitely don't forget, like there were so many games, especially again in the second half, that you're just like, they all just clumped together at one point, whatever. That is a game that everybody remembers very distinctly because it was mayhem.
Oh yeah, but the worst part about that though is I think that's the game Michael Bunting had a hat trick.
Yeah,
I think there were a couple high scoring games from Toronto against the Red Wings this past season.
Yeah, there were a lot of high scoring games from a lot of people against the Red Wings. Yeah.
Well, then you're starting to get out of the best moments into the worst moments.
Yeah. No.
Are we gonna do a worst
like
moments
we lost
episode?
that game, but like I still think that was like an entertaining and like fun game.
Yeah, from entertainment value standpoint, I agree. But another thing too, it's not necessarily a moment, but like a grand scope of the season thing. The fact that both Moritz Seider and Lucas Raymond were 2 of the 3 players on the Red Wings. Only 3 players on the Red Wings played all 82 games, and 2 rookies playing top line minutes were 2 of those 3 is just a phenomenal accomplishment.
What about the game? And I'm just thinking of like biggest like most emotional shows we had now. Like, what about the game that we play? I think it was against New York as well, where the ice was terrible.
Oh
You remember
yeah,
the horrible ice game?
yeah.
And they like literally asked about it in between periods, and they were like, "Yo, what is going on out
I
there?" And
think
Larkin's
Larkin
like, "I
said it
have no
was.
clue."
Yeah, that was crazy too. Man, there was a lot of like little moments we look back on too. I remember after the loss to the Penguins 11-2, we came on here just like at first we were defeated and we were just like because at this point the wheels had fallen off. And now we're getting out of the best moments. We're just kind of talking here. But at that point, the wheels had fallen off. So we were long past just defeated. And when this loss happened, we were just like, whatever. Like, this is just the team. Like, this is no longer a cold streak. This is just how bad they are right now. And then second segment starts. And I remember just like ramping up into the second segment. I go, I just need to stop. And I just like go off on a rant for about 5 straight minutes about how this is inexcusable, regardless of rebuild status or not. Because like you just lost 11-2, and like a week ago you lost 9-2. So it's like this continued. That was a standout moment, not a best moment, but it was a standout moment for us, I guess. Also, Mojo show,
Mojo show, definitely,
fantastic.
definitely. I mean, like, how much of a jerk do we want to be? Like,
Are you gonna say Blashill?
yeah, like how rude do we want to be?
It
Like,
was. It's a great
not
moment
that
for the.
it's not that it like anyone losing their job should be celebrated, but
How you
I
phrase it here?
honestly more so just like the concept of like we get a new head coach for the first time in a long time, and like that's kind of fun. Like the coaching search is fun. It's fun. So
Well, yeah,
I think more of like leading to that than I am trying to like dance on somebody's grave there.
that's exactly it. It's more so. It's not necessarily about a good man in Blashill getting fired, but about the fact that this team is looking to have better results now.
Right.
So it's absolutely a best moment because it shows a step forward from the organization in terms of competitiveness. So by firing him, that's a best moment, not because we're like you said dancing on his grave, but
Right.
because it shows that this organization's committed to being better.
I mean, I would say the the I would still say the trade deadline was one of the best moments of the season.
Yeah, except for the Nemestikov
I
trade.
know
But
I know the
outside of
Vlad
that,
was like not what people like expected, but
also the fact that they traded him, but
the Letty
that was a
trade
personal bias.
was the Letty trade was significantly better than anyone ever would have thought.
It was great. I was expecting.
And
I'd have been happy with just a second, and then you got 2 NHL players back as
right.
well.
And the fact that like that broke first and everybody was like Steve Yzerman's in his bag right now was like that was a fun moment, like
Right.
as a community.
Oh, there's a lot of good episodes or good moments from this past season. I've started to say episodes in real life, by the way. Like in my daily conversation, I'll go to say something, refer to like a segment of time, and I'll be like, "Oh, that episode," and it's like not episode. What? Just like right, not even referring to episodes, but I just refer to everything as episodes now because of this show, because of you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for being Locked On Red Wings, your first listen every day. Now make your second listen to Locked On NHL. From first-round matchups to each Stanley Cup kiss, Locked On NHL covers the playoffs like no other. Hear the latest news and opinions from local experts every Monday through Friday. It is free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Scotty and I will be back with you tomorrow as we finally begin to look ahead at the NHL Draft Lottery. And on Tuesday, guys, we're actually going to be live after the Draft Lottery from 7 to 7:30. So the NHL Draft Lottery broadcast begins at 6:30. That's from 7 to 7:30. You're going to get our live reactions, and that'll serve as our Wednesday episode. So make sure you stay tuned. Same time, same place.
BetOnline.
It's your team every day.
Every day.
Scotty's ridiculous.